Well, good evening. We want to welcome you to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. I tell you guys, we are ready for another awesome episode.
Good evening.
And I'm telling you, you're going to be just extremely blessed on this evening for what we're about to share. I'm telling you, it's going to be life-changing, transformative, insightful, impactful. You name it, it's going to be like a gumbo on tonight. And so we're just going to jump right into this thing because I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of interactions from the last couple of episodes talking about focus. And the reason why we've been talking about this for so long is because of what we're dealing with in our land, actually what we're dealing with globally. And what we're finding out is so many people are losing focus. So many people are throwing in the towel. So many people are giving up. So many people are just washing their hands with situations. It is so very vitally important that you remain focused, that you remain locked in, tied in, tangled in, handcuffed in, whatever end you need to be in, you need to be in that in order to achieve those things that you've been so desiring to achieve, especially in your marriage, in your relationships with your children, in your ministries, with your communities. People are dependent upon you. Let me say that again. People are depending upon you to make it. People are dependent upon you to hang on in there. And so you're just going to have to buckle down. You're going to have to lock yourself into this thing. Come hell, high water, no water at all. You're going to have to stay focused. I mean, I'm talking with laser sharp precision, knowing that all things are possible to who we are.
Them that believe.
All things are possible to them that believe. And watch this. Not to them that see, not to them that feel, not to them that get an inkling, but to them that what?
Believe.
Believe. And it's so important, man, that you're going to have to believe. I don't care how you feel, you're going to have to believe, because there's going to come a point in time where your feelings are going to be contrary to your belief. Mm-hmm. There's going to come a time where your feelings are not going to match the same level, the same wavelength, the same vibrations as your beliefs are. And so you're going to have to lock into that belief regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the situations. You're going to have to lock in and know that you can do just what you said you're going to do. If you said you're going to have a blessed marriage, guess what? There's going to come opposition. Mm-hmm. Every time you decree and declare something, opposition is standing at the door. Let me say that again. Every time you decree and declare a thing, opposition is standing at the door. So when you say our relationship is blessed, our relationship is on top, when you say that we're loving each other, when you say all these things regarding your marriage, regarding your relationship, guess what? There's opposition waiting. Opposition is there to try you on what it is you said was going to happen. Mm-hmm. If you said you're going to be a multimillionaire, guess what's there? Opposition. There's always an opposing force that's lying in wait to try you on the word that's been spoken. Scripture says it like this, that the thief comes immediately to try to take up the word that's been sown. Immediately the enemy is going to come in. He's going to try to take that word. He's going to try to take that word to see how deep in you that word really is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have to be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, knowing that what? Your labor is not in vain. And we're going to tap into some things on tonight, because all of this is going to come from a place of imagination. All of this is going to come from a place of imagination. One of the worst things that the school systems has done is tell kids to limit their imagination. That's one of the worst things. Because without imagination, we wouldn't be living in what we're living in now.
Mm-hmm.
The house you're living in came from an imagination. The clothes you're wearing came from an imagination. The shoes you're wearing came from an imagination. The vehicle that you drive, it came from an imagination. Everything that we live in, everything that we participate in came from an imagination. Just like what we're participating in now came from imagination, guess what? Your marriage is coming from an imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship is coming from an imagination. Let me tell you something. I know because I had a jacked up marriage and a jacked up relationship. And I had to begin to imagine that it was better. I had to begin to imagine that it was on top. I had to begin to imagine that it was everything that I wanted. And guess what? Because of that imagination, I now live in it. I now live in what I was imagining. Take the lid off of your marvelous mind and dream. Take the lid off it. Some of you got to physically put your hand on your head, lift it up, free in your imagination so that you can now see things that you've never seen before. You can now visualize things that you've been hindering yourself from visualizing based upon fear, worry, and doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to do those things. And when you do that, it's going to be so amazing what you see yourself doing and experiencing. It's so amazing, man, when you begin to experience, when you begin to be, do, and have all that you ever wanted to be, do, and have. That's
from the first imagining.
From say it again?
From first imagining it. From sitting there just imagining where you want to be, doing what you want to do, having what you want to have. It all started in imagination.
How was it when you transitioned from a regular 9 to 5 to now?
Challenging. It was challenging. It took was a couple year process. Mm-hmm. Mentally. You know, I imagined myself being at that point, but it didn't happen just overnight. It was a process for me.
Okay.
So I imagined it, but I had to also, in that time of imagining it, getting things in place for it to take place. Like there were certain things that I had to do to get to that place. Even though I imagined it, I saw it, I still had to do something in the process.
Okay, because you're being technical when you don't need technicality to imagine.
No, you don't.
Exactly. And so that's what I want to get to, because a lot of times we think it's stuff we got to do. All you got to do is dream. All you really have to do is imagine. And guess what? When you begin to imagine, when you begin to dream, all those things will line themselves up with that imagination. All those things will line themselves up with that dream. Why? Because it's a part, that's our makeup. God said, let there be light, and there was light. Guess what? He didn't have to maneuver anything. He didn't have to put something here, then put something there, then put something there. Guess what? Because he said, let there be light, there was light. And that's how we're going to have to do in this particular, especially in this time. You're just going to have to decree a thing and let it be so. Mm-hmm. And when you decree it, watch those things begin to line up. Sometimes it seems scary because most people are control freaks. Most of us are control freaks. We like to be in control of every single thing in every part of the process from start to finish. Most of us are geared that way. We're wired that way, not knowing that there are people that's in position to assist you to that next place and that next round of life and success. And so you're going to have to take the lid off of your marvelous mind and just dream. Goal achievers do not limit themselves. They don't limit themselves. When you set a goal, you got to take the limitations off. When you set a goal on having the best marriage, when you set a goal on being the best spouse, when you set a goal on being the best husband or the best wife or the best mother or the best father or the best business person, whatever your goal that you set, you're going to have to take the limitations off yourself. You're going to have to take the limitations off yourself. Why? Because limitations will hinder you from achieving that goal. Mm-hmm. There is no reason why you can't have the good relationship that you desire. There's no reason why. There's no reason why you can't have the relationship that you so desire, but you got to have focus. Mm-hmm. You got to be locked into that thing, because what you focus on does what?
Expand.
It expands. What you focus on expands. And so the more you focus on that thing, the more it expands. The more you focus on it, the more it expands. Guess what? If you don't quite feel your spouse, start focusing on them. If you're not quite feeling them, start focusing on them. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to expand. They're going to expand in your imagination. They're going to expand in your dreams, so much so where you wasn't feeling them at one time, you're going to start feeling them. Why? Because now you're consumed with the thoughts of them. It's like success. When you begin to focus on success, I'm not talking about the steps of success. I'm talking about success, the end goal. The end goal. Losing over 100 plus pounds, I couldn't focus in on losing the weight. I had to focus in on the end goal. Mm-hmm. The end goal was a healthy body, mm-hmm. was being able to add years to my life, mm-hmm. was being able to enjoy my wife and my children and my grandchildren. That was the end goal. So all the things that I had to go through to get to that were achieved by the focus. Now watch this. When I really began to lock into it, because I had the idea years ago, mm-hmm. and I tried several different things, many different things. I tried many different things to achieve that goal, but it wasn't until I locked into it. Mm-hmm. When I finally locked into this thing, because I did it before. I lost a massive amount of weight. Wasn't quite what I did this particular time, but I did pretty well. Mm-hmm. And it was extremely noticeable. People were paying attention and people were recognizing it, all these different things, but I wasn't locked in. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I locked in, guess what? Strategy started coming. People started entering into my life. I got a coach that, I mean, is phenomenal. I mean, this young lady is phenomenal. Yes, a young lady who's my coach. I'm a coach and she's my coach. Because every coach should have a coach. Absolutely. Every successful person should have somebody more successful than them to help them achieve that level of success so that they can go on to another level and dimension. And so I got a coach, and I'm talking about this young lady I don't even know how she came into my life. I really don't. I don't know how she came into our life, but she did. And that was because I focused in on something. I honed in on what it was that I wanted, and the right people begin to line themselves up for me to achieve the ultimate goal. And so take that lid off. There's no reason why you can't have the good relationship that you desire if you can see it within yourself. If you can just see it. Mm-hmm. If you can see it, you can have it. If you can see it, you can have it. If you can see it, you can have it. Sometimes you got to take, one of the things we do, we take 4 to 5 minutes and do what, man?
Meditate.
Just meditate. Sometimes you just got to take time out of your day, preferably first thing in the morning, not really the last thing in the day, because sometimes you're so tired and you're so worn out by the cares of this world that your imagination is limited.
Yeah.
Because you're tired, you may be frustrated, you may be worn out, you may be exhausted, whatever. And so you're not getting the fullness of that meditation. But I'm telling you, man, when you begin to take just 4 to 5 minutes, just 4 to 5 minutes of just closing your eyes and seeing bigger, seeing better, seeing that thing as it came to pass. One of my favorite commercials is, I know you guys probably seen this commercial. It's a Mercedes-Benz commercial. And I'm not a Mercedes-Benz guy, but I love this commercial. And in this commercial, this guy, he's sitting on a couch with his wife, and he's talking to the salesman at the dealership. Mm-hmm. And when he's talking to the salesman at the dealership, are they doing a Zoom or something? Are they doing some type of video sale or something? I think they're doing a video sale.
I think so.
And so in the commercial, the guy's like, okay, turn on the radio, do this, go outside, look at the tires. He's giving the salesman all these instructions. And then the last thing he does, he says, hop back inside. And the salesman hops back inside and he gets in the driver's seat. And the man says, now let the seat back. And when the salesperson lets the seat back, the man goes back simultaneously. And they both go back and he goes, oh.
He saw himself in there.
He saw himself in there.
He actually put himself in that space.
He literally lifted himself up because we are spirit beings. Mm-hmm. He lifted himself up and placed himself in the thing that he desired, and he became one. Mm-hmm. And everything that the salesperson was experiencing and was going through, he was going through, although he was sitting on his couch with his wife. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, man, if you can pick yourself up and put yourself in a place of someone successful, mm-hmm. someone that has what you has, and I'm not talking about you're wanting what they have. What's the word I'm looking for, sweetie? Envying. I'm not talking about envying. I'm talking about putting yourself in that place, mm-hmm. putting yourself in that place of imagination that's you, right. and experiencing from a whole nother level of experience what it is that they're experiencing. And I'm telling you, sooner or later, man, you're going to get it. Absolutely. Sooner or later, you're going to get it. I remember years telling my wife, you can leave that job. You can do this. You can do that. It wasn't until she put herself in that place that she began to see, I can do this. It wasn't until, and watch this, when she did that, there were people lined up to help assist. Mm-hmm. There were people lined up to say, okay, you need to do this. You need to do that. You need to have this done. You need to have that done. So when she made that transition, it wasn't as frightening. It wasn't as because a lot of times when you make a move, there's this level of terror that we experience. Mm-hmm. That fear factor kicks in. Mm-hmm. And that's why focus factor has to be greater than fear factor. Your focus factor has to be greater than your fear factor, because every move that you make outside of yourself, fear is always going to be present. It's going to be present. Can I do this? What you thinking?
No, I was just like, yeah, that's so true. Fear is always, it's always there. It's always going to come when you're about to make a decision or a choice to do something.
So what are two things you've used to combat that?
Wow, just trusting God and believing that I could do it, that He could actually do it. He gave me the power to do it. So
I was going to say, because he done did all He's going to do.
Yeah, right.
And that's important to say, because too many times we're waiting on God to do something He's given us the ability to do. He says He's given you the power to obtain wealth. He's already made, all of us are already born rich. Absolutely. We're already born successful. We're already born on top. And so it's just a matter of now understanding who you are and whose you are. Mm-hmm. And when you begin to get that understanding and that not, it's just like there are certain families that they're so tapped into their name that their name means everything. The Hiltons, the Hymans, there's names, man, that when people are born into that name, They know there's somebody. Why? Because of that namesake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? You're a child of the Most High God. And because of that namesake, you need to know that you can be, do, and have everything that you desire to be, do, and have. How? By taking off the limits of your imagination. The greatest land to live in is not the United States of America. The greatest land to live in is not Asia. It's not Africa. It's not North America, South America. The greatest nation, those were continents, but the greatest nation to live in is in your imagination. The greatest nation to live in is in your imagination. Because in your imagination, you can travel places that you've never thought you can travel before. You can go places that you've never thought you can go before. You can do things that you've never thought that you can do before. You can have things in your imagination that you never thought that you can have before. That's the greatest place to live in. That's the greatest nation to live in. It's your imagination. It's the greatest place. They are people who are always playing safe. There's people who always playing safe. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're not focused. When you're focused, you don't have time to play it safe. Why? Because you want what you want. Right. You want what you want, and you're not going to stop until you get it. There's always somebody going to say, "I don't know. If that was me, I wouldn't. I don't know why you're doing that. That seems risky." Guess what? That's why you're not doing it. That's why you're not doing it, because you're afraid. Right. And all things are possible only to them that believe. So if you're afraid, you already lose out. You've already lost. So this isn't for you. A blessed marriage isn't for the faint at heart. Because guess what? Marriage isn't easy. It's made easy. Marriage is not easy. It's made easy. That means we got to put some work into this thing. Absolutely. We got to first see it, mm-hmm, and then go after it. Mm-hmm. Because when we got in this thing, we had every bit of 5 minutes of counseling. Every bit of 5 minutes of counseling. So we really had to put in some work because we was clueless. You're talking about two divorcees, yeah, with the child and with children coming together. And I was recently divorced. Literally. I mean, less than a year. I was separated for over 2 years, but I was legally divorced for less than a year when we got married. Yeah. And so my wife, on the other hand, had been both for years. And so you're talking about two people with two different setups coming together, trying to pull something off that they had no idea what they were really getting themselves into. Clueless. Clueless. So we had to put some work in. What was you about to say?
No, I was going to say, because even though we had been married before, coming together in a blended family, we didn't have any clue of how to make that work, or how to work that, or how to make that easy at that time.
No, because watch this.
We didn't have information on how to blend a family. Well, take two families and make them one.
At all. At all. Because there are some things that have to be in place, because when the two become one, there's no more your children and my children. They're our children. Unfortunately, people got this thing where those my children, you can't tell them nothing. Guess what? You're not ready. If it can't be our children, then you're not ready for this, because this big boy stuff, this big girl stuff. And so we had to even learn that, even take on that. That took some time. And so there are so many things, man, that you're going to have to do to get this thing together and going like you want it. Because achievers are potential pathfinders, eagerly in search of a trail to blaze. Guess what? We were in search. When we entered into this blended family, we wanted to blaze a trail. I came in this thing, listen, I came in this thing with the desire that our marriage and our relationship was going to be put on display. Boy, did I have no idea how much a display it was going to be put on, and to what degree it was going to be put on. But it was put on display. It was put on display. But I wanted to be that trailblazer, man. Because if you're going to be successful in this blended family, if you're going to be successful as a husband, successful as a wife, successful as a parent, if you're going to be successful as a business person, you're going to have to blaze a trail. You're going to have to get something in your focus, get something in your view, pinpoint that thing, and then go after it with all restraints, without restraints. You're going to have to go after that thing without restraints, meaning I'm going to have it regardless of how things seem. Only you can decide. Only you can make that decision. Right. Only you can decide that. Nobody else can make that decision for you. Yep. Our family couldn't make that decision for us. Our friends couldn't make that decision for us. Our pastors couldn't make that decision for us. Only we were able to make that decision. Mm-hmm. And when we made that decision, guess what? In the blender where Brandon and Madeline Hyman was birthed. That was birthed. The moment we made that decision, this was birthed. Mm-hmm. The moment we made that decision that divorce was not an option, mm-hmm. that we win, mm-hmm. what else did we make a decision?
Made a decision that we would get through whatever we were faced with. We would keep going, we'd never stop, and we would succeed.
And all those things, when we made those decisions, that's when In the Blender was born. And guess what? Everything that needed to line itself up with that decision began to line itself up. I began to understand how to be a better husband. I begin to understand how to be a better father. I begin to understand how to be a better spouse. I begin to understand how to be a better friend, a better leader, a better mentor. I begin to understand all those things. My wife began to understand what she needed to understand. Our children begin to understand what they needed to understand. And when we begin to understand, everything began to fall in place. And I'm talking about piece by piece by piece. It's almost like a big puzzle. Mm-hmm. And you can have a big puzzle, and it's always this one piece. It's always this one piece. When you get that one piece, everything else begin to fall. You ever put a puzzle together and you get your hands on that one piece? I don't care how many pieces you done put together. When you get your hands on that one piece, you begin to see the whole picture of it. Yeah. Oh, that's what this is. Now you know, okay, now you're looking for the right things to put in place. Why? Because now you know how it's supposed to look. Now you can see, because first of all, you can see the right pieces.
Right. You look for all the corner pieces first, because those are the easiest to do.
Looking for all the easy stuff.
The easy stuff.
You running away from the hard stuff.
Start going a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Piece by piece by piece.
Until what? Until you got it.
You got it.
There are no other people in this entire world. Listen to this. There are no other people in this entire world who are capable of setting your goal for you. Nobody. Nobody in this entire world is capable of setting that goal for you. Only you. You're the only person who's capable of setting it. Not only the only person that's capable of setting it, you're the only person that's capable of achieving it. Yep. That goal. Yep. Now, there are some people that can achieve similar goals, right, but that particular goal, you're the only person that's capable of doing it. You're the only one. And so when you understand that you are the only one, that's empowering. That's an empowering feeling and understanding to know that you are the only one that's capable of doing it. You're the only one. Not your mother, not your father, not your siblings. No one else but you. You're the only one.
Yeah.
Scripture says it like this: the whole earth is groaning and waiting for you to manifest. The whole earth, oh man, you guys hear this, hear it loud and clear. The earth is waiting on you. I don't care. Ask Colonel Sanders. Ask Colonel, I called him. Me and him had a talk years ago. He said, Brandon, they was waiting on me. Because chicken ain't never been the same.
Yeah.
Chicken has never been the same. They was waiting on Colonel Sanders. Chicken has never been the same. People are waiting on you, man. Understand, they waiting on you. You know it, Chris. They waiting on you. The whole earth is waiting on you, waiting on that idea, waiting on that manifestation, waiting on you to walk this thing out. I don't care what it is, how big it may seem, they're waiting on you. Stop limiting yourself because of your education. Stop limiting yourself because of your age. Age has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it at all. I'm almost a half a century years old, and I can outlive, I can out push up, I can out squat 90% of folks that's younger than me. Age has nothing to do with it. Trust me on that. Has nothing to do with it. Have you seen the arms on my wife? Age has, listen, we proving it. We are proving it. You're not limited by anything but your imagination. The only thing you're limited by is your imagination. Colonel said, listen, if I put these 11 herbs and spices, or was it 7? How many herbs and spices it was? I think it's either 7 or 11. If I put these herbs and spices together, they're going to be flocking for this chicken. And guess what? They still flocking for that chicken. They still selling out. KFC ain't closing. I haven't heard KFC closing down. People still buying that chicken, finger licking good, whatever other names they called it. They still going for it. So you got to understand something. Only you can decide what that goal is and how it's going to be achieved. Your goal should be something that you want. Listen to this. This was something that we wanted. A successful marriage was something that we wanted. It can't be something that other people want. Because if it's something that other people want, there's nothing attaching you to it. Mm-hmm. There's not. It's just like it's just like when I was 300 plus pounds. My wife could have wanted me to lose that weight all she wanted to. But if I didn't want to lose that weight, guess what wasn't going to happen? I wasn't going to lose that weight. It wasn't going to happen because there was nothing attached to that decision. There was nothing attached to me developing or allowing a dream to take place to see myself differently than what I saw myself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was nothing. You going back to school, you starting that business, you getting that promotion, whatever it is, it can't be what other people want. It has to be what you want. Because when you want it, nobody can stop you. Nobody can. When it's something you listen. I wanted this one right here. I wanted her, and it wasn't nobody that was going to stop me from getting it. Nothing. And vice versa. I know it was nothing or nobody was going to stop her from getting this right here because we was locked into it. You gotta be locked into this thing. So because many of you right now, you're dealing with issues. You're dealing with some things. And so it seems kind of hard to focus. But watch this. A wise woman once said this. She began to act like her spouse was acting like he was supposed to act, and it changed the way she acted. Let me say that again. She began to act like her spouse was acting like he was supposed to act, and it changed the way she acted. She never said it changed the way he acted. She said it changed the way she acted. And because it changed the way she acted, she got the results she was looking for. What are you saying? When you begin to change the way you act, when you begin to change the way you act, visualizing that things have already changed, guess what? It's going to change everything else. It's going to change you. And when it changes you, everything else has to fall in place. Everything else has to fall in line. What do you think about
it? That's true. Because you can't change somebody else anyway. So the only thing you can do is change yourself. Change how you see things, change how you're looking at things, change how you're focused on things. You can only change yourself. You can't change another person.
You can only change yourself.
And changing yourself can cause the other person to change, which we know that to be so.
Yes.
So we've seen that changing yourself can cause that other person to change, to be the way that they should be, or the way that you see them being.
It's a saying we should say growing up in elementary school. If it is to be,
it's up to me.
If it is to be,
it's up to me.
It's up to me. If it is to be, man, it's up to me. If this marriage is to be, if this family is to be, if this business is to be, if this millionaire status is to be, if this television station is, whatever it is, if it is to be, guess what? It's up to me. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is to be is up to you. You're going to have to take ownership of this thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to take full responsibility of why it is or is not successful, make the necessary adjustments, and then be successful. Mm-hmm. He said, God said, let there be. Let there be. He said, watch this. Let there be means right now become. Whoa. Whoa. What did you just say? Let there be means right now, let this become. Right now, you're going to have to speak to whatever you're dealing with, mm-hmm. whatever that situation is, and you're going to have to say, let there be whatever. Let there be success. Let there be increase. Let there be promotion. Let there be oneness. Whatever it is, you're going to have to say, let there be. Mm-hmm. Because when you say, let there be, you're commanding it to become now. You're commanding it to become now. And that's where Hebrews picked it up and says, now faith. Because faith isn't tomorrow. Faith isn't the next 5 minutes. Faith isn't the next week or the next year or the next month. Faith is right now. Becoming now is right here and now. When you say let there be, becoming now happens. Mm-hmm. Transformation starts happening right now. Mm-hmm. Things begin to line up right now, whether you see them or not, whether you know it or not. Guess what? It begins to happen right now. When that sperm hits that seed, right now pregnancy takes place. Yeah. Right then and there. When that Million Man March begin to happen. So y'all think the Million Man March was first happening in DC? No, baby. The first Million Man March happened with Adam and Eve. When that Million Man March begin to happen, as we know it, when that Million Man March begins to happen, because somebody will say, oh, that's not the first man march. There were people before them. I say, as we know it. That seed, when that seed, that sperm hit that seed, that Million Man March, guess what? That's when life began. That's when let there be became. And all you got to do now is begin to water that thing. How do you water it? Being thankful and grateful. Being thankful and grateful. Being thankful and grateful. Why? About what? Not about what I'm experiencing, but what the promise is. Not about what I'm experiencing, but about the promise. That's why he said, in everything give thanks. Not for everything,
but in everything.
But in everything. Because you're not going to give thanks for that, but you can give thanks in it.
Right.
You can give thanks in it. Why? Because it could be worse. And there's always somebody that's experiencing something that's worse than what you're experiencing. Mm-hmm. Contrary to popular belief, there's somebody right now, as much as you can't stand your husband, as much as you can't stand your wife, there's somebody right now waiting for you to throw their tail away. So there's a movie that came out. Oh my goodness. There's a movie that came out with Taraji P. Henson called Acrimony.
Oh, yeah.
And I so really didn't like the movie per se, because it's like it's the fifth version of another type of movie. And so it's like all we doing is getting different actors and actresses to do the same plot or the same storyline. Mm-hmm. But this one was the difference in this one was this. She was mad at the guy and he didn't do nothing. That's the thing that was blowing me, because she had all this anger towards her ex-husband, when in reality it was her family that caused her or encouraged her to leave him. It was outside influences that encouraged her to walk away from the guy, when all he did was dream. All he did was take the lid off of his imagination and he dreamed. And he stuck with that dream and stuck with that dream and stuck with that dream, regardless of what was going on, because one man's loss is another man's treasure. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And that's what happened. What became trash to her was a treasure to another woman. And all those things, now watch this, because this is important, guys. All those things that he promised her that he was going to do for her, somebody else got the fruit of it. Mm-hmm. Oh, y'all not hearing what I'm saying, man. That's why it's so important to stay focused. It's so important to stay focused, because if you lose focus, somebody else is going to be living in your dream. Somebody else is going to be living in your promise. Mm-hmm. Somebody else gonna be living there. Listen. We already had this conversation. Nobody else can deal with my personality like her. We already had this conversation. I am a handful, 2 handfuls, and feetfuls. I'm a lot to deal with. Sometimes I feel like a nut. Sometimes I don't. I'm a lot to deal with. And so we've already had this discussion. It no need for me looking though, because nobody else can deal with this. I already know I'm gonna run her away. She gone. I ain't gonna want to be bothered. I ain't gonna want you to talk to me. I might don't want you to touch me. I might don't even want you to look at me. I be tripping sometimes. She looking like he ain't never lied. And so guess what? It's a lot that come with this. But I know that nobody can push me like her. Nobody can motivate me like her. Nobody can encourage me like her. Nobody can get me going like she gets me going. She gets me going without a word. Scripture says it like this: a wife can win her husband with the word, without a word. She don't have to say nothing, and I'm already trying to figure out how I can make life better for her, how I can make her experience on this earth better than she could ever imagine. I'm always thinking about how I can give her her heart's desire and then above and beyond. because she won me with the word, without a word. And you're going to be, and listen, you're going to make a foolish decision to walk away when that person has been divinely assigned to assist you to that next dimension in life. They've been assigned to assist you. But so many of y'all, man, you caught off of these looks. You caught off of, you so stuck on somebody's hair. You so stuck on somebody's waist. You know what I'm saying? You so stuck on some hips and some thighs and some breastises. You stuck on all this dumb stuff. We don't have to listen. All of them. Every woman got 2 breasts. Every woman got a butt. We don't have these conversations thinking they all, you possess the same thing. Some of y'all just bigger than the others, lighter than the others, darker than the others. That's all. That's the only difference. But it's literally the same thing. And so because you cut off of this, guess what? Those things change. Those things change. Because at 24, they might be perky, but at 44, they may not. You so stuck on the perkies, but guess what? Gravity takes place. It sets in. There's some things that happen naturally to our bodies that our bodies don't always look like they did when we were teenagers, when we were in our early 20s. And so if you caught up on all that, guess what? You miss it. But when you invest in the bigger picture, man, beauty begins to listen. I'm that butterfly. I'm that butterfly that growing up, you might not have thought I was this fine, but look what happened. Baby, they didn't know I was gonna turn out to be this fine. They didn't know the brother was gonna look this good when he got 50. They didn't know that was gonna happen. They didn't know that I was gonna be wearing a size 30 pants because I was wearing a size 30 pants in the 6th grade. So he was like, he's just gonna be a big. They didn't know all these things.
That's funny.
No, for real. But it's real though.
Yeah.
How many people looked at you not knowing who you was gonna turn out to be? And then you wind up being somebody that they always imagine having, but they couldn't see that before. And some of you guys right now are experiencing some things that's making you look at your family in a different light. I'm telling you, get your focus back. Because scripture says this, Proverbs says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. Hold on, don't say that low. Say well.
And obtains favor.
And obtains favor. Obtains favor. When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. Watch this. He didn't say he finds favor. Mm-hmm. He finds a good thing, but he obtains favor. Which means along with her comes something else. Mm-hmm. Now, this is really going to mess some folks up for all you super deep people and all these people that think you know it all. Well, guess what? You don't. Because you can't obtain something that you already have. If you already had this, how did you now obtain it when that person came along? That's what I see. So it's apparent that say what? That's right. It's apparent that something came along with this individual that increased your life. And so it's going to behoove you to treat that person, to esteem that person, to build that person, to love that person, to cherish that person as Christ so loved the church and gave his life for it. It's going to behoove you to do those things. Why? Because there's a level of increase in the promotion that you didn't already have. Life experiencing is greater now because of understanding. Life experiencing is greater now because of understanding. What did you just say? My life that I'm experiencing now is greater because of my understanding. Because I understand what my wife brings to the table, how she increases me, how she promotes me, how she elevates me, how she's not under me, but we're in this together. She's not subservient to me. I'm not subservient to her. We subservient to one another. We submit to each other. When I begin to understand that, guess what? Life began to increase. Things begin to take off. Things begin to elevate. Things begin to skyrocket. Why? Because of my understanding. I kept focused. I held on in. I began to do some things, and those things begin to reveal themselves to me and give me understanding. Because what is understanding, sweetheart?
Divine comprehension in your heart that gives you the ability to repeat a matter at will.
Say it again.
Divine comprehension in my heart that gives me the ability to repeat a matter at will.
Divine, watch this. Understanding, divine comprehension in our hearts that allows us, gives us the ability to repeat a matter at will. I'm not talking about a verbal regurgitation of something that I heard. I'm talking about a life regurgitation of something that I heard. Repeating a matter, doing it over and over and over and over again, getting bigger and better results. That's what understanding does. Understanding will allow you to do something over and over and over again the right way to get a bigger and better result every single time. Every single time. And so as I begin to get that understanding, all I did was keep repeating those things I was understanding. I kept repeating, I kept doing them. Okay, that works, let me do that. That works, let me do that. That works, let me do that. Well, that don't work, stop that. This worked, let me do this. This worked, let me do this. And as I begin to get an understanding of those things, life began to get better. Imagination grows by exercise. Imagination grows by exercise. Guess what? This place that you want to be in, it's going to grow by exercising, man. You got to put some things to work. You're going to have to put some things to work. It grows by exercise. Just like muscles. What you going to say with that? I seen you light up on that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, with exercising, in order to grow your muscles, you got to lift some weights. You got to eat properly.
You got
it's certain things that you have to do to get to that point. It's not going to just get there.
Certain things you're going to have to do. Certain things you're going to have to do. Because this what I see people doing, sweetheart. This is what I see them doing in their relationship and in their marriage. It's like, you ever see that person that goes to the gym and all they do is run on the treadmill? All they do, they on that treadmill. I mean, they getting it in. And a year later, their body still look the same. And you're saying to yourself, there's no way you working out the way you working out and your body still looks the same. It's no way. But guess what? You know why their body still looks the same? Because they didn't add any strength exercises. They didn't change their eating habits. They didn't get disciplined. There's going to take a level of discipline for you to stay focused and achieve this goal. There has to be a level of discipline for you to stay focused and achieve this goal. Let me say this. You could not imagine, let me say that again. You could not imagine how bad your boy want to stay. You could not imagine. You could not imagine how bad your boy want a steak plus a slice of cheesecake. You can't imagine. You can't imagine how much your boy want a steak, a slice of cheesecake, and some crab cheese fries. I sound like I'm hungry.
Yeah.
You cannot imagine how much I want that. But guess what? My goal and my focus says no. What I'm going after for my body's sake, for my longevity's sake, for my life's, for my family's sake, what I'm going after is telling those things no. Why? Because that's bigger than this right here. What I want is bigger than what I want. Did you guys hear what I said? What I want is bigger than what I want. When what you want is bigger than what you want, success is inevitable. Success is inevitable. They said, I was watching this thing, and we can close with this. I was watching this thing, man. They was talking about Kanye, right? And they said Kanye for years been saying, I'm a billionaire. For years, ever since he made that merger with Adidas and Yeezy, he's been saying he's a billionaire. And he's been saying it. I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. This is the man been saying he's a billionaire. Nobody never fact checked him though. Nobody never fact checked him. Mm-hmm. They just was like, man, he just lunching. He crazy. Because y'all know y'all give my boy a hard time now. He just saying stuff. He ain't no billionaire. He kept saying, I'm a billionaire. He been saying this for years. Mm-hmm. I'm a billionaire. Why all of a sudden they want to fact check the man and find out he worth $1.5 billion? Now all of a sudden you want to fact check him. You want to fact check him to find out he's really worth 1.5 billion, actually more than that. But that's just net worth. That's not the other things that come along with this that has value to it. $1.5 billion. This man been saying that for years. He been saying it for years. You're going to have to say stuff now. So when folks fact check you, guess what they're going to find? Just what you said. Just what you said. When they fact check you, they go, just what you said. Just what you said. Why? Because you are the only one that controls this. Yeah. You're the only one. Unsuccessful people know that lack of action is safe. They know that. Mm-hmm. They know it. And they good with that. But man, when you tired of the same old, when you know there's better in life than what you're experiencing, mm-hmm. you can't settle for that. Yeah. You can't settle for that. So many doors have opened up because of this focus, this decision to trailblaze, this decision. So many people across the globe, sweetheart, are losing weight because of what they seen Madeline Hyman do. So many people have made a decision to get their bodies in line because of what they seen me do. Countless number of people. Countless, male and female, because they seen me make a decision and stick with it and produce the results that I said I was going to produce. They now have made that same decision for themselves and have now have had the same results that I've had. I'm talking about folks that have lost over 200 pounds, mm-hmm. folks that have lost over 50 pounds, 75 pounds, 100 pounds. Have now wearing clothes that they haven't worn their whole entire adult life. Now they're experiencing it. Oh man, listen. Out of time, but not out of message. Out of time, but not out of message. Listen, we thank you guys for tuning in to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman. How can they reach us, sweetheart?
You can reach us via email at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com or our website, intheblenderministries.com. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. on WJMS Radio. You can also catch us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
and SoundCloud.
iTunes, Stitchers, and SoundCloud.
And again, Thursday nights, 8 to 9 p.m. on WJMS Radio.
And what's our email?
We are a blended family at gmail.com and website intheblenderministries.com.
So listen, if there are any questions that you guys want to ask offline, just shoot us an email. If there's anything you want to know, shoot us an email. We'll be more than happy to get back with you at our earliest convenience. Yes. We thank you again for tuning in to us. And until next time, be blessed.
Good night.